Hello, everyone. This is Adlan Fela, Chief Analyst at Maravidis. Welcome to this new episode of the MSP Thought Leaders Industry Shakers. Before we start, just remind you to please like, subscribe, share, and support the channel. We're growing. We're almost 4,000 subscribers today from 300 9 months ago. So it's amazing. Pretty happy about it. Today, I have the great pleasure to welcome Todd Johnstone, who's the CEO of AllBridge. Hello, Todd. How are you today?
Great, Adlan. Thanks for having me on the show today. Appreciate being
Absolutely.
here and appreciate everything you do for the industry.
Well, thank you for your support. I appreciate you coming in. And I'm very excited to learn more about AllBridge. Tell us about your company and services.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I've been with AllBridge going on my fifth year now as the CEO. But AllBridge was founded many years ago, like a number of players in our industry. We have over a 30-year heritage in serving technology solutions to the hospitality, senior living, and multifamily segments and industries. Today, we serve over 8,000 properties, over 1 million rooms in North America and the Caribbean. We have nearly 200 employees, and if you check into a five-star hotel today in the US or Canada, there's an 80% chance that there's AllBridge technology solutions in there.
Okay.
We've evolved the company to do everything from consulting, designing, engineering, building and installing, managing, and supporting our clients throughout their technology lifecycle. We believe connected technology solutions are the future in this space and provide a great amount of value to our clients.
Okay. So you mentioned multifamily and hospitality. How much of your business is hospitality versus multifamily?
Today, the split in terms of property count is about 75% hospitality, and the other 25 is senior living and multifamily, split along 15% senior living and just under 10%. So just over 15 senior living and just under 10% multifamily. Although we have had a number of opportunities in the last couple of years that we wanted to work, we see an increasing trend towards multi-use facilities that would have apartments, a hotel on site, retail space, restaurants. And so we see the lines of these blurring. Today, we still call these hospitality, but we do have dozens of multi-use properties that we support as well.
Hello, everyone. This is Adlan Fila. I'm a Chief Research Analyst at Maravidis. Maravidis is a boutique wireless infrastructure analyst firm since 2002. Of the last 2 decades, we have been helping customers with research, consulting, and marketing services. Some of the areas we cover include the convergence of Wi-Fi and cellular. In fact, we're known for our long-standing relationship with the Wireless Broadband Alliance, for which we have produced the industry annual report. We have 3 ways to work with us, from marketing essentials for startups to large custom projects. We can discuss those projects individually. And those are some of the customers we have helped in the past. So feel free to reach out to us to further discuss your research needs. Thank you. That's an interesting point, because one of the questions that I had is like fundamental differences you see in serving a conventional rental multifamily versus a hospitality.
Yeah, we're still relatively new to multifamily. I think
Okay.
in terms of pure technology and the ability to bring high density in building technology, critical technology that works and connects to multifamily. And again, the five-star experience that we do with many of our hospitality clients is a great benefit into multifamily. There are differences in terms of decision makers, how the construction process works, expectations on redundancy. But we've seen and we've had clients who loved our ability to bring, again, five-star industrial grade connected technology into multifamily, which honestly still has generally the traditional residential model where each unit would be served as a residential unit. We see challenges with that, and we see a much better opportunity, again, to bring connected technology for a high density building versus treating an apartment complex with 500 units and their residents, frankly, as if they were 500 individual houses in an entire block area. But there are differences. We have experts, both from an engineering and a selling perspective, that understand the differences between traditional multifamily and hospitality.
Makes sense. My next question is, what's unique about AllBridge?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a story in my experience here, Adeline, and then I'll get specifically to the answer. My background comes from industrial, electrical distribution, energy services, and how also technology has changed those industries over time in a very positive way from remote monitoring, diagnostics, being able to troubleshoot and support and extend life of installations. But also, what struck me coming from those industries is I always look at things from the customer's eyes in terms of call it a construction process, whether it be a major renovation, an upgrade, but also truly new construction. And I was struck, especially in the hospitality industry, by how downstream and siloed we were in terms of how the technology was procured and implemented. Meaning, if you think about a building or a major renovation or rebuild, everything would be blueprinted and drawn up front in the building design, plumbing, HVAC, electrical. But we were literally coming into jobs on an RFP downstream saying, I want to look at the voice technology. And okay, who's going to do that? Cabling was separate. The network was separate, which was striking to me. One, we were providing so much value and technology into the building, but we were underwhelming our customers too, because we know, especially today and more so in the future, technology needs to be integrated, connected, works together. But this industry, again, especially hospitality, but we see it in multifamily, back to my point on the traditional residential model as bifurcated individual solutions, you end up with multiple vendors, technologies that don't necessarily, one, talk together or support each other, right? We've walked into installations with 14 different vendors. We've been asked to provide a voice solution, cloud voice over IP, hosted, whatever you want to call it. But we said, no, let's do an assessment of the cabling and the underlying network. It's not fit for purpose. We need to have a coordinated plan here, or we've inherited and took over systems that weren't anywhere close to where they needed to be, and we ended up with a lot of calls. So, getting to your question, we've really tried to drive and been fanatical at AllBridge of we can provide a full end-to-end connected technology solution. It doesn't have to start there. It may start with we're providing your Wi-Fi today, or your voice, or your video solution. But over time, 1, 2, 3 years, let's build a plan. Or if it's a new build or a major refurb, work with us from the very beginning. Let's look at your technology. We can do the blueprint and design drawings. Let's make sure we work closely with the contractor, the architect, the consultant, whoever you have and need. And let's build an integrated plan for that technology, either upfront or over 2 to 3 years to make sure it works. And we want to be the one-stop shop for everything from that consultancy, design, build, installation, engineer to managed services and support, because we've also seen customers and our property and our owners, operators who've had to deal with the pain of a lot of finger pointing, and they're left, well, what I take seriously, and I always tell my team, put yourself in the customer's shoes, because in my prior career, I've done a lot of procurement, a lot of product management, a lot of ownership of these. I've been on the other side and I know what that's like. So we want to be that end-to-end solution. And that's been unique here, where a lot of us are still chasing, let's get the lowest price on the individual technology. But dramatically, again, with our 4 and 5 star customers, but also with those that have mass market properties as well.
You're almost talking like a system integrator, putting this
Absolutely.
together.
In my prior lives, that's what it was like. Yeah, system integrator. I like to think of it as a full managed service. And Adeline, the other thing that is not new to multifamily, but to hospitality, where we've seen a big uptick, is giving our customers options. The traditional model is pay for a bunch of hardware up front, probably with 3 or 4 different vendors, then maybe pay us a service or support fee. We'll install it, right? And then, you can upgrade the hardware in 3, 4, 5. In some cases, we've seen 10 or more years. We've also now brought OpEx solutions where we can put it into the operating expense line item. We finance it, again, not unique to multifamily, but to hospitality. So we give customers the flexibility on how they want to finance their solutions. And again, we want to own that, because if the technology problem is ours, we don't want to be passing it off to someone else. But certain customers, especially as rates have remained stubbornly high, look at different options to finance versus maybe the traditional upfront financing CapEx model.
So in hospitality, there are a number of technologies that are supported by the connectivity layer. So you
Yeah.
provide the Wi-Fi infrastructure,
Yeah.
cabling, security cameras,
Yeah.
thermostats, IoT, all of that. How do you make sure they all talk to each other if they're coming from different vendors and different protocols?
100%. One is just to be clear, other than, and we'll talk about Skyway, other than our Skyway software, we're product and hardware agnostic. We have over 50 of the world-class best vendors in the technologies that you just outlined that we work with today. We are a great channel to market for them. We're obviously providing a lot of properties and customers to them. How we ensure that is our core competency is our engineering today, our key project management, our quoting, our selling, and that's where we have some of the best engineers and quoting capability in the industry, and then how we support. We've got the best support and service team in the industry. But to answer your question specifically, AllBridge would own any challenges on integration and making sure communications and systems talk together and they work together effectively. But we have partners who we escalate to and work with, again, in a seamless way to our customers. So all of these partners, there are clear partnership agreements, support agreements. They provide tremendous support when things get escalated beyond our expertise. But I would say in-house, when it comes to traditional cabling, Wi-Fi network, voice, access control, video, that's where we build and invest in in-house expertise as well. Right.
Yeah.
Other things where we have to scale installation, we do hundreds of projects every quarter. That's where we partner with providers who can scale, and that's not as much our core competency. But what you
Of
just
course.
described is critical. Those things need to work, and we want AllBridge owning that entire end-to-end experience and make sure those technologies work together. And we've got great partners supporting us.
Okay. On the Wi-Fi side, particularly, do you use one AP vendor or different, have a mix of vendors?
Mix of vendors, and that's a great question too. We again, I grew up in purchasing in GE for part of my career. I know one vendor is too few, and probably 7 to 8 is too many. So our number is in between there. And if you name a big name and you can guess it, they're a partner of ours. And again, we have great vendors. And we also, as you think about what's important too, the upfront as you're designing a solution, we have customers and owner operators who have different levels of technical expertise, right? So our team comes in and doesn't make any assessments or assumptions on what technology you need or know or how much you want to know. Some of our customers would spec it exactly, right? The full, in this case, network Wi-Fi solution, what they want for switches, routers, APs. We probably go back and forth on design. Others come in and some of the ones who've had challenges with the size of their IT teams and their budgets, and they've said, AllBridge, I need you to be our outsourced IT managed service vendor. What are your best practices? What technologies do you want to use? So it ranges between those that know exactly what they want and how they spec it, and they're very capable in their technology, to those that say, I need you to bring your 30 plus years of experience and 8,000 properties, design a solution that works for me for the type of property I have.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Let's move on to what are the biggest business challenges? You mentioned different stakeholders. I understand that in
Yeah.
hospitality you have large chains versus independent hotels versus a mix in between. What can you comment on that?
Yeah, that's you can cut me off if I go on too long. This is it's an interesting topic for me. And I'll start with why I came to this industry, and it's just been reinforced, in a magnitude of 10 or more. We are in an extremely exciting industry. When I talk to people about what we do and the properties we're in, right, whether it be the luxury single property boutique or the multi-thousand chain, right? We serve and are lucky enough to serve some of the best, most exciting properties in the world, right? And you look at the development in multifamily and where the opportunity in senior living and how critical technology is going to be to senior living in this massive growth phase it's experiencing. We're in a really, really exciting space. And when I talk to our customers and visit some of the properties. I'm in a hotel over 100 days a year. I use our customers' properties. It's an awesome industry we're in, right? That's the good side, if you will. The flip side is I honestly believe, and I'll talk about this, we have dramatically underwhelmed our customers as whatever MSPs, right? System integrated, the technology providers. We've underwhelmed our customers, our investors, and we've also not been able to make this industry exciting to new talent. I think this industry should be on par with AI in terms of attracting the best and the brightest and have a lot of excitement around it and bringing new talent and ideas and energy in, right? Whether it's for positioning AI, right? Or setting the future for future investments in this industry. And let me touch on a couple of those. I think we've underwhelmed customers because even though we're technology providers, we've been too slow to respond to the change and trends in the industry and use the technology, right? And you know this better than I do, Adlin, but if 20 to 30 years ago or 20 years ago, 15 to 20 years ago, when we used to visit a hotel, there was a TV in the room and a phone, right? And the phone was the connected, traditional, non-cloud-based phone. So that's how things were procured, right? Let me go get the best price and the best content for the video. Let me go and get, something that I need for a phone because I had to have it and people need to call out to the front desk. That has rapidly evolved to what you talked about earlier. Technology is now connected. You touched on all of them, right? The cabling system to the network to the phone and the TV, to the access controls, to the locks, to the parking garage, eventually, if not already, to the elevator, right? The ability to go out to common grounds out of your room and still be connected. It's just evolved rapidly, and we've been slow to evolve. We still see we still see RFPs coming in that are technology specific and dependent, right? We still have what I talked about earlier. This is not an exaggeration. I think 28 is the highest technology vendors that certain properties and owners have, right? But multiple vendors. And when something happens, of those 28 or 7, or we've seen everything, 8 vendors in a property, how many do you think step up and say, yeah, that's my problem. I've got it. I'll solve it, right? And we've been slow because if you chase the lowest price on the RFP, you think you're winning, but that is a challenge to the industry because it's hard to invest in the industry where you're not making reasonable, profitability and cash. And I've traveled to enough properties to see, where this technology is bifurcated, where it hurt, where it's underwhelming. And if you think about it, you used to go to properties to have an experience that was just radically different and better than your house. That's not the case anymore. Our objective now is to take hospitality and certainly multifamily where you're going to have the best technology experience anywhere, because that's what it used to be. It used to be a better experience than your home. So I think there's a lot more we can do with customers, be on the cutting edge. And by the way, integrated solutions that are designed better in total with maybe not a single provider, but certainly less than 4 or 5 on an ROI basis annually or a TCO basis over time, always win, because there's nothing more expensive than having to go in and troubleshoot and fix and diagnose and then maybe change out technology. And no one ever takes that into account because they feel they've saved 2 cents on their RFP, right? So we've underwhelmed customers. We've underwhelmed investors for the same reason. There has been some big money, VC, private equity, family, personal money that's gone in. But for the reasons I just outlined, we haven't done a great job of making sure there's great returns, great outcomes for investors. And that strikes me as shocking because we're putting technology into high density buildings, right? Into exciting high density buildings. There could be nothing more important, right? It's far from a commodity, right? It may not demand, because there should always be good competition. Our customers should always have options, but it shouldn't be a race to the bottom either. So that, I think there's a great opportunity for investors here. There's a great opportunity for us to read the value, but also show better than a connected solution, fully connected solution from both a resident guest standpoint, but also from an owner operator standpoint.
Okay. Our time is almost up, so I'm going to finish up with the one last question.
Yeah.
If you had a magic wand, what technology or service would you add to become more successful?
We're adding it right now, and I touched on it earlier. I would ensure that all of this technology we talk about, and this is part of our legacy. I think we always talk about technology first and not the experience and not the proactive way to deal with it. I would bring a software platform like we have in Skyway and ensure it's in every property. So technology could be monitored, diagnosed, proactive fixes going in, ensure technology's connected. I think there's a whole software play in this industry too that's being underrepresented, and make sure that we tie it all. And however our owner operator developer wants to design that building technology wise, make sure it's connected. And then one last thing, I touched on it earlier, because of the millions of data points we collect every week on our technology and the hundreds of thousands of calls we get, we have data that is the foundation for the future of AI in this industry. And AI is going to have a very exciting future, but we're lagging behind it. This is a great place for new talent to come who wants to segment mine. And I don't mean customer data. I mean data on the installation itself, on the
Right.
technology infrastructure, on why customers and residents and guests are calling. How can we preempt it? How can we proactively upgrade and fix and diagnose, technology challenges? But also think about how we position this industry for AI is exciting. So more than you asked for, but I appreciate the time.
No, I appreciate you sharing your passion around this topic, and I want to thank you for sharing your insights and your time today. I want to thank the audience for listening. Please remind you to subscribe, like, or share. And until the next episode, it's a wrap. Thank you very much, Todd.
Thank you, Adlan. Appreciate it.
Thank
Okay.
you.